It's unprecedented. This coming Saturday, Europe Day, will be commemorated globally in the midst of the COVID-19 pandemic which has gripped the world. In keeping with the national pandemic safety restrictions imposed by the Namibian government, the ambassador of the delegation of the EU to Namibia and heads of EU member states decided to gather at the official residence of the EU ambassador to Namibia ahead of EU Day on Saturday.
The virus does not discriminate between people and knows no borders. Now is the time for international solidarity and leadership. The European Union, as the world's largest donor and a leading economic power, is at the forefront of this effort. The European Union supports international cooperation and multilateral solutions in this crisis. Team Europe response combines resources from the European Union, its member states and financial institutions, in particular the European Investment Bank. Globally, the European Union will secure financial support to partner countries amounting to more than 15 billion euros to this work. In Namibia, the European Union and its member states has earmarked more than 8 million euros as an additional budget support to support the Namibian government in a response to the pandemic.
Europe is Africa's first partner in the area of peace and security, providing 2.7 billion euros to support Africa's solutions to African problems through the African Peace Facility. It is also why Europe is a partner of development to Africa and especially to Namibia.
We are committed to collaborate towards building a safer world for all. Climate change is a threat to Europe and the world. The European Green Deal means that there will be no net emission of greenhouse gases by 2050. It is our roadmap for making the youth economy sustainable by turning climate and environmental challenges into opportunities and leaving no one behind.
Africa has its future in its own hands, and Europe does need a strong Africa. We want to create decent jobs, manage human mobility, drive digital innovation, and reconcile economic growth and the environment.
EU is the most open market for African export, and Europe is by far Africa's largest export market. Through its Aid for Trade instrument, EU is supporting the regional value chains and reinforcing the capacities of African producers. The Economic Partnership Agreement, EPA, between the EU and ACP countries aims to promote trade. Ultimately, it contributes to sustainable development and poverty reduction. I encourage Namibia to utilize fully the opportunities available under the EPA. 6 million euros has been made available to Namibia for the implementation of the EPA.
The ambassador of the delegation of the EU to Namibia weighed in on the role of the EU in the country.
We are living difficult times now with the pandemic going around the world, knowing no borders. So we have to come together. And we are here as EU, European Union, with the delegation and all the 5 member states. We have come together to support Namibia and in this pandemic effort, but also for sustainable development, for trade and investments, for Africa strategy, for climate change. We are long-term partners for Namibia, so we are with Namibia also during these difficult times.
Ultimately, particularly in a time of crisis, as is the case with the pandemic, the message is clear.
Together we are stronger!